Good morning, guys. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance. Appreciate you joining us. You've caught us standing on the side of a beautiful Colorado River on October day. We're keeping it real simple today with a real light spinning tackle, but today we've got only inline spinners. That's all we're throwing today. We're gonna go through a rundown of a brand new bait that Johnson came out with, a little inline. Oh, just got bumped right here. Should be a fun show, guys. We're expecting lots of bites, so stay tuned, get comfortable. It's a beautiful setting.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Berkeley, catch more fish. Abu Garcia, for life. Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, spend more time on the water. Lawrence, find, navigate, dominate.
There's one. There we go. There's a nice one there. All right, so the Johnson minnow spin. The beauty of this bait, no swivel. I've got this thing tied to straight braid right here. I've got to straight 6-pound nanofill, no swivel, no clip, tied straight to the bait. And there you have it, guys. Now, because we're in the fall, we have opted, if you look right there, we've got a rainbow trout colored one on there. We did that on purpose because this time of year, the browns are getting ready to spawn here. About another month, they'll be spawning. And so we've taken advantage of their territorialness, little barbless hooks. And you got the fall leaf, that's a good sign, guys, but beautiful little brownie right there. And you can see all these leaves right here. I gotta tell you one thing, fall in Colorado, man, if you're gonna come out here and you're gonna hunt elk or deer or anything like that, very common, bring a spinning rod. We're keeping it so simple today that I don't even have a tackle box. All I'm carrying is a couple of baits in my pocket and a little bit extra line just in case, and that's it. This spinner is about as basic as it gets, and I love the little minnow spin they came out with last year. The beauty of this bait, it runs really straight because it's got a nice heavy body to it, and it doesn't spin in the water column, which is excellent because, oh, there's a bump right there. These browns are definitely excitable. It runs excellent because it's very heavy for its size, and it doesn't spin, so we'll see about this. I've got it on a little St. Croix Trout Series ultralight rod, 6'9" ultralight rod. And the beauty of a spinner, I mean, you can just retrieve it. You don't have to do a lot with it. You can use the current. I'll steer it with the rod. I'm gonna vary up my speed quite a bit. I caught a leaf that time. I'm gonna vary up my speed quite a bit, and the reason is that will change my depth. So the faster I retrieve it, the higher in the water column it will run, and so I can mix up my depth. And as we always talk about depth range, how deep does this bait need to be running to help me get these fish? So far we've had several bites, but it's been on the slower retrieves, so we'll see. So the more downstream that I'm working this bait, the slower I need to work it to keep it down in the strike zone, but it's okay because the river's current will keep the blade spinning. The beauty of the minnow spin here is it's designed to spin at slow speeds or high speeds, so it's got a nice heavy blade on it that'll spin at a variety of speeds, and that's really important. A lot of the inline spinners will only spin at certain speeds, but this one will spin at a lot of different speeds just because they made a real heavy body on and a heavy blade, and so it's got excellent balance for an inline spinner. And again, I have no swivel on this. I'm relying on the fact that the bait doesn't spin a lot, and also that I have it on nanofill, which doesn't seem to care about spin nearly as much as if I had it on nylon monofilament or something like that. All right, now I don't generally throw a lot of heavy upstream with anything I'm retrieving hard. I don't generally throw a lot of heavy upstream, but as long as in my mind that the bait looks like it's trying to come across current, so if like 45 degrees upstream, I'm okay with it. It's when I'm bringing it straight downstream with something like a spinner or a spoon or some sort of a minnow bait that I just don't feel comfortable that you're gonna be able to get bites. And that's generally played out for us wherever we go. If I have to retrieve the bait, I don't want to be retrieving it downstream. If I can drift the bait, as in the case of a jig, then I like the downstream with the spinning rod. So we'll play with that and see how that works out here today, but that's what I expect. There we go, there we go. If you want to know why I like inline spinners, that's why we like inline spinners. That thing hit the water, the spinner got about 2 turns on the blade, and we caught a perfect little brown. And on this ultralight St. Croix, I mean, he may be little, guys, but that's an ultralight rod and real light braid, and so simple way to catch them. So fun and simple and inexpensive. Inline spinners, such a good deal. This one's a rainbow trout colored one, and it's a 1/16 of an ounce on the ultralight rod. How much fun is that? Just because I'm throwing a minnow spin that's easy to catch fish with doesn't mean I can disregard the fundamentals. And then reading the current is one of the most fundamental things for trout fishing. If you look along, there's a far seam on the far bank across there. The river's swinging there, but there's a little back eddies along every one of those roots. Then there's a real hard seam on the inside right here. And this water on the pool, the eddy is coming back upstream towards us right here. Really, right down that edge right there is where I expect the bulk of my bites to come. We've been bitten to heavy water, but by using the spinner from all the way to here, I can cover the whole water and figure out where the most of the bites are and then focus on that region. The one thing you always want to do with the spinner is gain instantaneous line control anytime I'm in the river. As soon as that bait's in the water, I want the bail closed. I want to have control, or the current will push it into rocks and you will not catch very many fish. You will be at the mercy of whatever the river does with your lure, and that is not a good plan. Okay, there, like I said, guys, mix up your angles, mix up your angles. Well, we have mixed up our angles and we have caught another cute little brown. So what I'm gonna do next is put a great big one of these on, because I feel like that, okay, we know these little guys will jump on it, but if I take the same minnow spin, the same color, and I make it like 4 times bigger, which I can do because these little spinners come all the way from a 1/24 of an ounce all the way up. You cute little brownie, isn't he cute? We'll kiss him for good luck. See you, buddy. These spinners come from a 1/24 of an ounce all the way up to 1/4 ounce. So there are a whole bunch of sizes of them. This happens to be a 1/16 or the second smallest one. I'm starting with it because I have the real light rod. Maybe I'll move them up aggressively from there in size. So we'll see what happens with that. But the whole thing with it is it's so simple that I'm literally carrying 6, 7 spinners and that's it. So I love it. It's very, very easy. If you're gonna hike in here, you put your stuff in your pockets and hike. If you're going on an elk hunt or a deer hunt and you're gonna bring one thing, bring a spinner. I oftentimes say bring jigs, but the thing with the jig is you're certainly gonna snag more of them and they take more effort to work. Anybody can work a spinner. See what I'm saying? Anyone, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And now there's a bunch of these in here apparently, and that's a good sign. We are on the mighty Colorado River, so there is probably a million of these in here. Another cutie. See you, buddy.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. Lowrance, find, navigate, dominate.
There we go, big fish too. He's way over there. That's why you make the Hail Mary throws, guys. I don't know how big he really is. This is a really light rod, but we've thrown about 8 or 10 throws at that bank over there in various spots, and I've been trying to hit underneath those roots. Well, it's like 90 feet across the river. It's a long throw, and I don't want to be throwing these things up in the trees. And so I've been taking my time and get in there. Well, that was a perfect throw, and I think this fish is a good size one. Hard to tell. Yeah, there's a pretty fish right there. All right, so we're gonna come over here and see about gracefully landing him. Now that's a good sized brown right there, guys, and we've got him on light line. Easy, buddy, easy, buddy, easy, buddy, easy, buddy, easy, buddy. Okay. Need an excuse for an inline spinner? I got you one. Let me get him unhooked here real quick because we don't want to hurt these guys, and we'll admire them in a second. But these hooks are barbless. I always smash the barbs right away. Beautiful, beautiful trout. Look at that thing. Whoo, baby, on the ultralight, like 80 or 90 feet, we'll slide him in the water here, let him get out of here. Boom, back into the mess. I mean, that's a long throw. Those root balls are way over there and they've got stuff hanging underneath them and the whole 9 yards. But if you make those Hail Mary throws right there, a percentage of them are gonna get bit. And some of my favorite catches are the ones that are on the end of Hail Marys like that. That was a good throw. That was a good fish. Now, a big part of the reason why I'm working that far bank, the current swings across there, but there's a little seam on the other side, and so it gives me a chance to get fish that are generally unpressured. So I'm gonna throw the bait all the way up in the corner right there, and then coming out of that seam into the fast water. That's a really common way to get trout to bite, is to throw into slow water and retrieve into fast water, and they'll grab it as it heads out into the fast water very, very commonly. More commonly than a bait that comes out of fast water into slow water. So I do that a lot on a lot of shows with a lot of baits. It doesn't matter if it's a, a big floating minnow bait or a, a little tiny floating minnow bait or a jig, throwing it into the slow water and retrieving it out into the fast water as though it's being dragged out by the current is a really good way to get bites. Okay, new section, guys. We move downstream a little bit. We've got basically what amounts to frog water here. We've got water that's real flat, nothing to it. Spinners excel in that situation, inline spinners, because I can literally just burn them across here and cover a lot of water in a hurry and hope to find any little subtle changes in the bottom in this kind of water. It's not the kind of stuff a lot of people like to fish, but the whole point of it, and the whole point of why I am fishing it, is because I have a bait that's gonna allow me to cover the entire river really quickly and see. And if there's any little deep spot, any random rock, anything that will, give the trout a place to sit, there's undoubtedly going to be one there. And so if I get lucky and run this thing by one of those, there's a good shot that it'll get bit. So we'll see if we can pick something out. You can see I can load that St. Croix with my fingertips, and it doesn't take any back cast at all. And that's the beauty of these Trout Series rods, is they're really good in tight quarters like this. I've got a shorter one as well that we use at times. It's back in the tundra. Did not hike down here with it, but that little short one can sometimes be really good as well in this heavy cover. But this little bit longer version of it allows me to get all the way across this river, way over there, with no back cast. There we go, guys. That's my second cast. All I did was change colors, same size and everything. I went from the black one back to a rainbow trout colored one, or to a rainbow trout colored one, I should say. And that's my second cast with it. So like I'm saying, we're keeping it so simple today. And I think a lot of fishing shows want you to think fishing's hard and fishing's complicated and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you want to come to Colorado and catch a whole bunch of brown trout or Utah or Wyoming or anywhere else as easy as possible, pocket full of inline spinners, some 6-pound Nanofill, an ultralight St. Croix, little tiny Abu Garcia, total no-brainer. Do you see a tackle box? Nope, because I don't have one, and it's been still simple, simple, simple. This is the Colorado River. This is a public section like everything else we do. It gets pounded all the time. No problem catching them on the inline spinner. There's a beta quick steer. Oh, that one should have got bit. They're not always going to get bit, but I tell you what, I fish with a lot of confidence, and when I feel like I make a good throw to a good spot with a good bait, I expect to get bit. I don't hope to get bit. I expect to get bit. And I do that because then I focus more on what's going on executing. And anytime you're fishing a real fast bait in current, you're gonna miss a lot of fish. You're gonna have fish that bite and jump off. You're gonna miss hook sets on a lot of them. But it's okay, because like I always say, you get a lot of bites doing it. If you fish more slow, methodical presentations, you don't get nearly the number of bites, but you hook a lot higher percentage of them. So it's all in how you look at it. My thought process is cover water, look for the active ones, and take my chances on getting them hooked. This minnow spin has an excellent quality treble hook on it. I have smashed the barbs on it, so you'll jump a few of them off, but it's worth it. And you can also, if you really have the mindset, replace it with a single hook. I don't do that because I really don't find that the little tiny treble hook has caused me any real problems, especially if you handle your fish carefully and get them back quickly. And if you notice, we do that all the time. All right, here we go. I like this angle right here. Carefully, right on the bank. There he is right there. That's why you do that, guys. You throw those ones right on the bank like that. That bait landed about 3 inches from those cobblestones on the other side, and there was a fish on it by the time I got the bail closed. We talk all the time about instant line control. As soon as you throw, especially in a river situation, you need to have that bail closed. In this case, I closed the bail before the bait even hit the water, and yes, is this a giant? No, but it's the same basic throw I made to catch the big one just a few minutes ago. You look how cute he is. Look, powder is hiney. Make a throw here real quick. I want to show you one thing with my hands here on the reel. Once I go, I'll close the bail immediately, but I'm also mixing up the retrieve so the bait's kind of darting a little bit. The current's doing the bulk of it, and there you go. There's another one just like that. Holy smokes, this might be the smallest one yet, but he's illustrating my point. I'm just mixing up the retrieve, and by mixing up the retrieves and the baits, I can work this hole for a while. And this one right here, this might be the smallest trout ever caught on Fishful Thinker television.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
This would be ideal if you could drift through here on a drift boat. Need to hook the cast a little farther around. There we go. Oh, there's a bump. There's one right here. Got him right here. All right, he's a little guy, which is probably good considering where I'm sitting. That's fun, right? Don't keep him out of the sand. That is fun stuff right there. I don't care if he's little or not. To be Billy Goated down this hill and throwing a spinner, there you go, buddy. Be throwing a spinner in some ridiculous place like this upstream. That's all good. So here's the little Johnson minnow spin that so far has been most effective for us today. We've caught him on black, we've caught him on white, we've caught him on gold as well, and we've caught him on 24th ounce, we've caught him on 16th ounce, we've caught him on 1/4 ounce and 1/8 ounce, all in this one section of river right here. Here's the thing. Minnow-shaped body is very, very heavy. This one right here is 1/4 ounce. That's a very heavy body, excellent sharp black nickel hook, and the rainbow trout one and so do the others have painted blades like this, but they're chrome on the other side. So really neat bait. Here's what it looks like in the little bit smaller packages here. You can see a couple of them. This one's wet. I put it back in the package after we used it, but a little tiny one there, 16th ounce. Either way, Johnson Minnow Spins, check them out at johnsonfishing.com. Oh, time out. Oh, buddy. Okay, little trout. Come here, buddy. Come here. Aye. Out of the dirt. How cool is this little spot to fish? Worth the effort. Is that not a pretty little guy? Look how perfect. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed our show today. We've had a good time. The whole point of it being real simplicity, some simple. Not a lot of tackle. Don't even have a tackle box. Don't have anything but spinners, inline spinners. Little Johnson Minnow Spins is all I'm even carrying. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. So what we're gonna do now is switch gears a little bit, and we're gonna show you how we like to sometimes cook fish. Guys, this is one of my absolute favorite recipes for fish, and we're gonna do it right now outside here on the Camp Chef Somerset stove on the deck on a beautiful fall day. What are we gonna make? We're gonna make blackened fish fillets. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the grits, because they're gonna take a few minutes, and I'll give you the abbreviated version, then we'll jump on the fish. So the grits are gonna be really, really simple. Oh, maybe 1.5 cups to 2 cups of instant chicken stock right there. And then we're gonna stir some grits into here really quick. And those are quick cook grits that'll go really fast. The other thing we'll do is we'll add a little tiny bit of garlic powder and onion powder. We'll add a few bacon bits in here, all in one shot. Okay guys, so you see real quick, those grits are coming together. They've been boiling now for, maybe 5 minutes or so. So I've got the skillet warming up. The grits are getting thick. So I'm gonna add maybe, 1/4 cup or a little bit more of table cream to that. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes since I added the cream, and you can see these are getting nice and thick. The last thing I'm gonna do to them as far as adding anything is cotija cheese right here. It's a Mexican cheese, it's very salty. I'm gonna add a little bit of this into here, just some crumbles, and let it melt in. So these are basically done. We'll go ahead and turn the heat down as low as it'll go and just let them sit here and do what they do, which is basically get thicker and thicker and thicker. So what we've got is a really nice piece of catfish right here. Striped bass, white bass, any bold white meat or any oily fish like a salmon of some sort, excellent blackened. The technique will work with almost any kind of fish, also excellent with steak of any sort, so keep that in mind. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of this clarified butter that's extremely hot, and we're going to brush it onto here. And the reason we do that is, opposed to putting the butter in the pan, is it will burn severely if you put it all in the pan. So we're gonna put it all on here. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna grab some of this blackening seasoning, and we're gonna give it a healthy coat. I mean, This is not to be taken lightly. You don't want a light coating of seasoning on here. You want a lot of this seasoning because a lot of it's gonna cook off in the pan, and then we're gonna take it right to the pan. It's gonna smoke a lot, just like that, guys. So, and then on the other side, we'll go back in here with just a little bit more butter just in case, and a little bit more seasoning on this side of the fish. All right, now you can see that this is smoking pretty hard. And before I flip it, I'm actually gonna turn the heat up a tiny bit because the pan's cooled a little bit. And we want this to be really hot. I mean, the whole point is blackened, it's burnt for all intents and purposes. But what happens is that caramelizes all those peppers and takes some of the heat out of it, makes it really sweet. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this piece of fish over real gracefully. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why they call it blackened. If you look at that, some people are saying, oh, that's burnt. Believe me, that is not burnt at all right there. All right, minute and a half has elapsed. Smoke's still coming off here. Pretty much guarantee you that fish is about there at this point. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and get on some of these grits first thing. And so these should be absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna make a little bed of them right here in the middle. Then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna get a hold of this piece of catfish. We'll give it a quick look-see on the other side, make sure we like it. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, right? You guys are down with that? I'm thinking that's looking pretty sharp at this point. So we're gonna take it off and we're gonna lay it right over the middle of there. If you look, it just flakes apart. Even though it hardly cooked for any length of time, it just flakes beautifully apart. Pick up a little bit of the grits with it. Hot, hot, hot. Mmm. Salty, a little bit hot, a little bit heat hot, a little bit of crunch to it. It kind of gets a crunchy texture to it. A little bit of buttery flavor, absolutely delicious. Blackened fish, so simple as you saw, just a couple of minutes, couple of ingredients, nothing to it. Do it outside, you gotta do it on the Camp Chef. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want the recipe, go to fishfulthinker.com. Most importantly, we hope you'll tune in and we'll see you next week. Okay, one more throw. Oh. Okay, last throw. I'd like to talk to you about eating. Idiot. Seriously, last throw. There's one right there. Oh, he came off. There he is. Oh, I missed him. There he is. Oh my Lord, that thing smashed it. Maybe because my junk is now wrecked, it might be my last throw. All right, cut. Cut for a sec, cut for a sec, cut for a sec. Okay, cut, 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 cut.